Okay, now let's remove some dirt from the meat. Kind of makes sense to me because meat is like moist, some kind of secretion going on. The dirt will be falling off, you know? You know how it is with secretion. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and in this video I wanna export these other three neonate characters, the beggar, the mindhunter, and one of the mushrooms. I wanna export them with their high poly sculpted counterparts that are also available right here. Here's beggar. So yeah, we'll export all of that, and I'll try and apply texturing to them the same way I did for the guts neonate, because this guy is completely done and ready and running around in Unreal Engine. So I wanna introduce these other three characters, and why these three specifically is because these are the demo neonates. At the moment I'm specifically focused on getting a 1-hour demo, hopefully for the Halloween period, but we'll see about that. But in order to get there we definitely need a certain part of the enemies available. So these are the guys that are gonna be there. So today we're gonna get them ready, and hopefully by the end of this episode we'll see all three of these guys texturized and standing around in Unreal Engine. So let's start. I actually don't even remember, I probably don't have UVs, right? Yeah, that doesn't look like UVs are here. So let's start with that then. So I'll start by finding cylinders and separating all of them. That's how I start. And I'll just dissect them just like this, so they would be able to nicely open. So that's how I do it, at least. I make one line and make sure it's covering the whole area at the final plane in here. But I think it may be actually not the best, because I remember I actually tend to create a separate plane section here with the seam. So you kind of go like this. This way you get this clean plane at the end, as well as this cylinder will be able to just perfectly unfold and be just straight without having to have anything that's kind of stretching or squishing. So yeah, let's do the same thing here. Actually in here I'll just add it on the side. There's very few polygons here. So yeah, I guess I'll do the rest the same way. It's pretty much just finding cylinders and doing that to them, whether it's a little drips of goop in here, or, you know, fingers, or the whole leg, the whole body, or anything. Like, well, in here it's a bit of a more complicated thing, but pretty much just find seams that will cause the least amount of stretching or squishing of the texture. So I'll just go ahead and do that as much as I can. Man, this shape is so freaking complex. I ended up just kind of splitting everything into like rectangles, because there's a lot of like curvature, non-stop curvature everywhere. So I don't know, we'll see if I'll regret it. Probably I will. One thing I noticed, I was always like asking myself, why the hell do I have to like hide seams a lot? Like if you're projecting normals in a decent way, like it's not gonna be a problem. That is true, although probably not always. But the main reason is like a lot of the features, a lot of the effects in Substance Painter, they can't always use like triplanar projection. Even if a certain texture is triplanar, the effect itself, like blur or certain simulations of drip or something like that, they can't work in triplanar. They rely on the actual seams, and things get kind of weird around the seams, like, and when they're like right on the nose, it's not good. But I prefer maybe avoiding certain problems with that and instead make sure I don't have like a lot of stretchings. But I prefer maybe like avoid using those kinds of effects, or maybe just manually, you know, smudge things around to make sure there's no seam. But I really prefer avoiding the stretches of the pixels. on the surface, so whatever. And yeah, like, I think I always need to mention, I'm not going for like a AAA Game of the Year awards for the best models. I don't care about that. I need to make the whole game, so things are done, you know, just normal. If it's getting too complicated, then whatever, there will be a Steam. Who gives a damn, to be really honest. Okay, so the main body is done. Let's do the surprise arm and then the egg yolk. Let's see what that is about. Yeah, these things. I should care about them at least a little bit, but it's hard. Anyway, I think it's good enough. Oh wait, this guy has UVs. I mean, what kind of UVs? Not great. Not great at all. Oh my god. So yeah, I guess this guy is totally fine. Let's work on the mushroom then. Thank God for the control-click shortcut, where you just select one edge, and then you just select another one with control-click, and it finds the best path in between them, because it would be a hell of a journey to find a decent path, because it's always like giving you a good path, the one that's like the smallest angles. Okay, let's have a look. Well, this is colorful. Okay, so I think this is good enough now. Honestly, is this even different from what it was before? With those automatic seams, this is like insane. What's any use of having so many seams on the thing? But like, the geometry is so crazy, I couldn't do anything else. I mean, this could probably be done better, but, you know, that's like having 5 Big Macs and a Diet Coke kind of situation. Okay, so now there's this guy left. I'll do him next morning and we'll continue. Alright, good morning. Now let's finish UV unwrapping with our headhunter. Pretty straightforward cylinders here and quite a mess in the very core of the shape. And then the typical nonsense with the egg yolk. Let's get to it then. Oh my god, I had no idea you can hit U and then hit U again to unwrap. So you just U and you get the unwrap. That's so much easier. If only there was a good shortcut to clear seam. Can't come up with anything because all the other combinations with S are taken by other stuff. Also, I wish they would make like a VR mode for Blender where you could just wear a headset to see the viewport with your head while using a mouse and keyboard the same way. It may be a nauseating, horrible experiment, but the point is, I'm kinda sick of like constantly doing this to be able to see the actual, like, to see where the flat part of this is. And with stereoscopic vision, you can see it naturally without having to do anything. That's like the best part about sculpting in VR, that you don't have to do all this weird stuff. Alright, let's see how long will I be able to continue doing this, separating all kinds of concave and convex areas here. Alright, I think this is it. Clearly, the takeaway of this video is that if you use Decimate as a part of your topology, don't expect to have any sense with your UVs. I actually really feel like if I'm going for this Decimate type of topology that I don't really care about clean stuff, and I will be almost 100% relying on just automatic projections and stuff like that, maybe it doesn't really make sense on wasting all this time on this and use some kind of automatic mode, like literally just smart UV project this thing. Like, whatever it does, may be fine as well, you know? Interesting, it didn't... Oh, right, it's not like... It didn't create seams, right? These are my seams, and this is just the UV layout. It's two different things. But yeah, like, is there really all that much of a difference? Like, sure, the cylindrical giant tentacles are maybe something that you would do, but when it comes to, you know, the decimated area, maybe it makes sense to just select it. After creating the cylinders, you would select just this area. It would be easy to select when you don't have any seams on it. Just all of it, it would be cleanly selected, and then just Smart TV project just this area, and that's it. Because it really, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have these things, because Smart TV project does one thing right, and that is it just removes all the stretchings. It will have a lot of ugly seams, but so do I now. Really, there will be a lot of obvious seams here, and good luck to this model to look anyway decent, you know? Right, I forgot about the egg yolk. Let's do that as well. Let's actually do this this thing on him just right now, because this is literally decimated area. So it looks like this. We'll see how it goes. If it looks particularly terrible, then I'll come in and add real seams on that. I don't want to unwrap, right? I already unwrapped, so I'll just back. And here we have all the guys fitting nice and snug into our UV map. Alrighty then, so we have all of our guys ready to export. So the way I learned to export here is that we clearly have like separate materials on egg yolks and egg whites. This mushroom guy doesn't really have that. His egg yolk is like concealed under the egg white. He's underdeveloped or something like that. So the low poly meshes can be exported just like this, but the sculpts, I will need to actually separate them. So like this. And actually by material, right? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, except for this guy also needs to be separated, even though it's the same material. Could just use by loose parts. So yeah, that's what we'll need to export. As far as I remember, actually it's best to like export them into separate files, because when we project, we want to project just from the egg yolk, just from the egg white. And that's the way to be able to do that. So I'll use GLB right here. I keep looking more and more at the USD file though, but I think it's an overkill. GLB works just fine for exporting just models. Very important to use only selected objects, otherwise you're just creating a mess. I wonder, I can't really open like several instances of Substance Painter, right? Yep, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So I was just wondering, yeah, this is the latest version of my guy. Man, these rings look very intense in here, but they don't look all that intense in Unreal Engine in the actual game. Overall, I gotta say, like, in game, especially in a third-person game, things are way less obvious. Everything, including all the bugs that you have, as well as like just fine details like this. Like these rings maybe should be like a bigger scale, like bigger steps to have like a more noticeable higher contrast situation. Another thing I wanted to improve a little bit, so we're gonna work on guts a little bit as well, and that is I want to add, actually not all layers are even on here. I forgot about that. Darkenings. What are these darkenings? Maybe that's the head darkening, yeah. And there's actual dirt that makes things a lot more put together. But yeah, what I wanted to add is actually the whole layer. And this is the moment where we actually need, that's right, we actually need the specular pass as well. So I want to add holes. The whole purpose of these deep cuts in here, that they would like go into darkness. Right now I'll add a black mask, make a stroke like this, and let's define what a hole is. I mean, hole material I have right here, so I can probably in here, like that. And it's missing the scattering setting, because I wasn't using that before, I guess. Although I should have. Something's wrong. It's definitely having specular on it right now. It's still there. What the hell is that about? So yeah, height is something that's like increasing the bump of the hole, making it a bit more holy. But what is this extra thing? It's supposed to be pitch black right now. There's no reflections and the color is black. What else is up? Oh, god damn it. It's just the dirt on top of it, that's all. The hole definitely needs to be the highest level of things, because you can't put any dirt or anything on top of the hole. Makes sense, right? But that is still wrong, like, what's up with that? Like, there are still reflections, clearly. How can it possibly happen if this layer says that there's specular level 0? This doesn't look like 0. I wonder if it's just the problem with the renderer. Somehow it still reflects stuff. Of course, tweaking roughness makes 0 sense, but this proves that this is actual reflection. If I'm changing the way it looks with roughness, it means there's still specular. That's just the way Substance Painter's renderer is stupid, I guess. Like, there's no way I didn't paint it opacely enough, right? Yeah, so 1, it's absolutely strong, and it's still reflecting. Makes 0 sense, really. So I guess we're gonna have to be looking at this, but keeping in mind that this is really a hole. I hope. So yeah, what I wanted to do with this is like that deepest part in there. It may just look just fine the way it is now, but what if, you know, we go ahead and add a little bit of that. It will take a little bit of artistic care with low flow settings to make it nice and natural. Alright, this is looking fun. A little bit of a hint of like a gradient going into that, so it would look less abrupt. There you go, there's an infinite hole in there. Still messed up a little bit by having those reflections that are so not supposed to be there. But, you know, even now it's looking good. Like, it will look terrible like this when the light is behind, but we don't have to look at that. Just gotta make sure I'm really in the deepest part of it when I'm doing this. Who needs a tablet when you can just click 1,000 times with a low flow? Oh yeah, I think it's looking like a lot more fun of a situation and concept. And I have more plans about this kind of stuff for future developments of characters. So this will be the big deal of having just black holes in characters combined with these infinite rings leading to those. So that will be the whole deal. I wonder if the Touch of Infinity would be above the whole layer. Oh my god. Like, it also means it's above the dirt layer, which may be kind of awesome, I don't know. Of course, we need to adjust the way we do these. I feel like this is actually what I exported, you know, and this level effect levels is something I was just trying, but I never really used this. So yeah, it could look something like this and like disappearing a bit more around the whole area. This way you kind of have a glimpse of, you know, everything is darkening around the hole, but the rings keep glowing a bit more than the rest of the things. A little bit, and that attracts attention to them, making it all work together like it's something unusual going on. Also, I'm not totally set on the color of these yet. I do know I want them to be kind of yellow, but not too happy of a yellow. Yeah, all of this is like a huge, you know, decision-making thing. Especially this whole levels thing. It's a bit intense. This way it's a bit less sharp and blending into the flesh a bit better. So yeah, that's the setup. And one thing I wanted to do here as well is I want to see if there's a possibility of creating like one of these maybe smart material things, or like sometimes you would add like a preset here and it would introduce like a folder. It's called dirt, and in here certain things are set up. Can I turn all of this into that kind of folder that I'll be able to add on top of the other neonate characters, you know? So I would be able to quickly apply same rules for everybody. So maybe this is it. We just create a smart material because, as I said, these were the smart materials. And on the folder, there's an option like that. And on a single layer, this option is empty. So I think I'm onto something here. I wonder though, like, there's a bunch of hand-painted textures in here, like hand-painted masks. How exactly are they gonna work? Are those gonna be wiped? So it's a smart material neonate. So far, this is our current version of affairs. Maybe the infinity rings, touches of infinity, could use more work on the colors and contrast situation, maybe on the scale as well. But we'll see about that. Right now, this is how I want it to be, I think. And I created the smart material. Next, I'll import other neonates one by one and generate all the maps they need, as well as apply the smart material to them and see how it works and what I need to do to complete the look on other neonates as well. So let's do that. Alright, so here's our bagger. I imported the guy, then went to texture set settings here, then baked all the maps right here. This right here is the setting for baking egg white. And one thing I think I may need to redo a little bit is that I exported 3 objects, but the low poly mesh only had 2 materials, the egg yolk, and everything egg white, including the sticking out arm, is just the egg white material, so they only bake together, which means I did during the process, and maybe still have probably issues right here with the normal map. But yeah, I pretty much baked it like this, separately just arm and egg white, and choosing only egg white and baking to just egg white like this. And then egg yolk, you remove these meshes and add the egg yolk high poly mesh, this one, and you project those details. So that's what I did and got all these maps going on. So this is what it looks like, and yeah, this is the bug I'm having on the arm in the egg white. Let me show you guys how our smart material works. So right here, I already have the old version of the smart material. It's old because it has all the masks painted in, so all of those textures of masks, they stayed put. And this is the same smart material, but all the masks are just black, so it will look like just the basic skin, plus the mud that has its gradient, like more dirt towards the ground. So that's already done, which is cool. And the only thing we have left to do is to, you know, paint in. We click on the mask of the skin redness, and we paint away just like that, with a much lower flow. I'll never get used to these shortcuts. But yeah, something like that. Yeah, when I was turning this old smart material into a new one, what I did was I went here and I clicked clear mask, right, to get the black. By the way, this one doesn't require that because it's a fully procedural mask. It doesn't, like, it's not painted in here. It's just this dirt filter that's doing that. But like Flash, for instance, I clicked clear mask, but when you do that, it also removes all the filters, which is like, how do you just make them this image clean, you know? Just that. So what you have to do is select these first, copy them, and then right click and clear mask, and then paste back all the filters to keep things going. So yeah, that's about it. And another thing I forgot to do is to create the egg yolk smart material, so I may go ahead and do that now. But overall, I'll throw around all the textures in a similar fashion. All the masking I'll do right now, similarly to the guts texturing, right after I copy the egg yolk. So let's do that. Also, I want to just make a screenshot of this and have it ready to either follow it exactly or not follow it, but still I need to know what it looks like in the first guy. And yeah, egg yolk. So yeah, again, what we do is we create a group and add everything to it. We can right away name the group as Smart Material, Neonates, Yolk. And then right click and create Smart Material. Boom, just like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and drop this here. Ooh, that looks wrong. Something is painted, maybe. Oh, there's a paint layer right here. That's pretty much the way you do it. Yeah, a bit softer gradients in here. I just did that with a soft brush. I'm not sure why Substance is lagging so much, though. Super slow performance. On the egg yolk. Oh, because of warp and stuff, right? Also, blur is not exactly free. Yeah, there it is. Much faster now. Yeah, I think I need to separate the arm, because right now it's getting very uncomfortable. So this should work. I'm assigning this egg white 2 material to this. I guess this is the proof of that. Haven't seen this before. What a special set of colors in sculpt mode there. But yeah, select. There we go. Yeah, now we export this. I wonder if I can just refresh it. Re-import mesh. Alright, this happened, and it brought back the material to the existing stuff, and the new stuff got a new thing. New stuff meaning a new material, literally, so that makes sense, I guess. So I'll drop that egg white on it again. Oh, why does it look so weird? Oh, I should bake all kinds of textures. But yeah, overall, this has been very pain-free to do. So let's do this egg white 2 with the arm, beggar sculpt arm. There you go. So now we can increase frontal distance a little bit here. Oh, actually takes a lot to have it cover that very tip of the drop at the bottom. This one I don't care about because apparently I forgot to actually represent this drop in the mesh. Like, it's just not there, just a little, almost a drop, but not really. I'm fine with that, honestly. I don't know if I should project it, though. Maybe I should. But I feel like when you increase the radius too much, it might make things look weird. Especially in here, like we're sacrificing way too much. So let's just do that. That looked wrong a bit in there. Again. Maybe rare distance is too low or something. Yeah, that seems better. Funny how this rare distance, you can't preview it effectively before you start baking. Maybe you can with some settings, but not straight away. Okay, now for the clean egg white projection. Beggar sculpt egg white. Yes. And in here we really don't have to use very big distances at all. Although that drop right there requires it as well. Should I not care about that? Because it will ruin other stuff. It would be cool if I would be able to, like, live sculpt it right now, you know, after doing this. As in, like, switching from this shell mode to the actual cage, where you're using, like, a special mesh to do it. Why don't they do it? Like, it's literally creating the cage mesh right away with ease. Would be so convenient. I don't know, I don't want to mess with that drop. Let's see how it goes. Seems alright. So now the arm should update a lot. I mean, a little underwhelming, but it worked. There it is, like a normal map drawing of a big drop. Honestly, I'm kind of fine with it. So I was thinking maybe the arm should be all red, because the insides are red, and this is like the inside arm. Like, not red, not the skin redness, I mean, but the flesh. Can you, like, fill... Also, physical paint, I think it's, like, fun, right? Oh my god, so unnecessary. We could better use a fill tool. I guess it's useful because that way you let something grow on the surface without having to deal with, like, UV maps, I guess. Although I'm seeing UV seams all over the place. But that's because of this filter, the warp filter, right? No, maybe blur slope? Yeah, blur slope is doing this issue. Okay, that's enough of you. So if I cover it up, it's gonna look just fine. I mean, this is an intense arm as it is, but I'd rather have the whole thing meaty. I mean, that's one way to do it. bigger radius physical brush. It's strangely very performant, considering one brush stroke is not exactly easy to do. Like, it doesn't necessarily lag, but I mean, there's warp turned on it. And when you do this, it's like, what, 16 brushes at the same time? I guess it's somehow optimizing it since it knows what it's doing exactly, so it's just sampling it all as a one brush stroke or something. Still impressive. As heck. Ooh, bone. Never thought of that. Maybe we paint tips with the bone? Well, that looks odd. Maybe not so on the nose. Like, maybe. Doesn't make too much sense. Doesn't look like bones. But if we paint like knuckles as well... I would like to, like, replace normal map here. I think it should work much better this way. I guess I'm fighting with the dirt texture again that's on top, right? Yep. We should probably remove dirt, because this is the stuff that's hidden most of the time. It shouldn't be dirty. So I'll do this and then make the layer a bit more transparent, I guess. Oh, I think I'm gonna make these drips, like, black. Like, I'll cover them with darkening, because it's definitely wrong to have them of meat color. Also, always a good practice to conceal the edge of this object with just this whole material. There it is. So, yeah, it just starts with the flesh, then we have bone. Creases, we may add some. I actually have that crease brush, I believe. And yeah, this is where you can make things special with this brush. Kind of like, you know, work around all these generated, randomly put together details and make them really talk to each other a little bit. This is kind of fun. Like, if you have a moment to do that, it's always rewarding. But I mean, no one will ever see this, so I won't. Better spend time on stuff that will be noticeable. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the skin layer by layer. So, skin redness. I have this organic brush, and that should work. That's pretty organic, alright. Okay, that's pretty good. Now for the flash part. Let's hide everything like this. Now, this is where I will need backface cooling, I suppose. Bones. Are there bones in here? Let's imagine so. Also, let's turn on the blur, slope, and warp on the flesh. Looking fancy. Okay, now let's remove some dirt from the meat. Kind of makes sense to me, because meat is like moist. There's a bunch of some kind of secretion going on, so the dirt will be falling off, you know? You know how it is with secretion. Now, several holes are a must. There it is. Oh, that's nasty. Okay, I want to add the darkening on all the dripping stuff, like in here. Oh yeah, we know exactly where it was dripping from. Ugh. Okay, I think more or less we're done. The only layer untouched, I mean, there's two of them. There's creases, but I'm not sure if we need any. But Touch of Infinity, we need to add that stuff. And we clearly should continue the pattern of these strange ribs in here. They almost look like they replaced the Touch of Infinity, but I don't mind that. This guy has very messed up internal organs, and they were messed up by this Touch of Infinity. It makes sense to me. So we'll just sort of fade into the touch. Alright, let's have it this way. All of these, like, brand effects of the creepy stuff, they really need some time to think through. But yeah, for now, it's gonna be like this. I think it won't be too visible anyway, since, like, I made it as high contrast and insane as possible, so it would attract some attention. But overall, like, right now, we're not using shadows. And in-game, there will be shadows, so those things will be visible only a little bit when the guy is already attacking you, probably, or something. And yeah, we can always add more details aside from toenails, like on the actual edges of the skin here, you know, the stuff that will be right in front of the character or in the cutscenes, to make it a bit more distinct. So this was a pretty high contrast addition. So yeah, let's say this is it for the guy. We'll see what he looks like in the actual game later. For now, I'm gonna have a workout, but after that, we'll do the other two neonates. So let's go ahead and jump forward to that. Alright, welcome back. Now I've just finished baking maps on the Headhunter. What I actually did for the Headhunter project, I just used the Beggars project. That's why there's still his material hanging out over here. But yeah, then I deleted all the layers and have it now like this. Way easier to do it this way to avoid setting up all the subscatterings and all the channels you need, like specular and scattering I need. So yeah, let's go ahead and drop. So egg white, let's drop egg white right here. Boom. And egg yolk right here. Almost done. Actually, I never thought of this guy in terms of what's gonna be red skin, what's gonna be fleshy. It may look very special if we do it right. So let's go ahead and paint around the egg yolk a little bit for starters. I really love these soft gradients on this shape. Looks great. Gotta make sure I tone down the dirt. By the way, Headhunter shouldn't have too much of the dirt since he's levitating, so totally makes sense. He's not gonna be pure, that also doesn't make too much sense. So about the dirt, let's see, maybe we just tweak some settings to tone it down. I think this will be good, for now at least. Now, let's start with actually adding the darkening, because that's like the biggest gradient. How am I painting sort of in cavities? Is it because this dirt thing is, yeah, that's what it's doing that. And it's applying on top of my fade layer. So if I do semi-transparent fade, that's where it's burning into it using like an overlay mode. Yeah, literally. With this guy, cavity masks really shine. Well, some skin redness should probably go this way. I think I should add a little bit of the flash on like the inside areas of the tentacles. That's a good place for it, since it's usually we put this thing on like the insides. Not that, you know, these smaller underdeveloped neonates need to have a lot of all the features, but I mean, this is looking pretty cool. Too much dirt again, but we'll see about that. I always have too much dirt for the flesh area, and then I just erase it around the flesh. Not everywhere, a little bit, but it changes many things. And now for some holes, which are plenty in here. Now the touch. Let's see. Alright, I think this is it. Made some holes. They look very screaming or listening, you know, kind of cool. Didn't want to do all the holes, but have to admit it's kind of hard to stop adding these things. Maybe just like very vaguely a little bit. This seems to be sufficient. Cool. So now we have just the skin going on and just the egg yolk on top. But yeah, let's start with that darkening and then see how we want that egg yolk to show through. Oh yeah, the cavities are doing their thing again. So yeah, like this. And I understand I can add like a mask onto the smart material folder without even having to look inside of it. And I'll just add a little bit of something. I know it sort of makes sense, like if there's a layer of egg white on top of egg yolk, it makes the most sense to make it show through in the cracks, sort of like, but I think it will just look gross, so I just won't do it. Maybe it's like gotten thicker, like there's a scar tissue, that's why it's not showing through as much. Now, pretty straightforward here. I think it's after the headhunter, things are pretty much gonna be very similar. I don't think I have a place for a bone material in here, but holes are a must. Okay, the last thing here is I want to like erase the mask a little bit with some kind of veins on the egg yolk. Now let's have a look after setting things up for a little while. Alright, I forgot. So I have these material instances. I have already certain things prepared, which is great. All I need to do in here is just to replace the textures. Only first I need to rename materials. So arm is egg white 2, egg white 1 is egg white 1, egg yolk is egg yolk. Now let's place the textures. Oh, that's brutal looking. The colors are so burned. Alright, I need to add specular to the parent material. Yeah, the specular result is very white. It's gonna be shiny as hell. I mean, it's cool, but no. Okay, this guy is done. I mean, without any adjustments, just connected. Oh my god, that's some helmet seam on his head there. Gonna have to see about that. Okay, so this is what the guys look like right now, and with certain adjustments they will look more like this. Less super bright, less incredibly shiny, and stuff like that. Also, yeah, other neonates are short, because Guts is the tall neonate. So yeah, it's this creepy small kid, actually. Also, I'm happy I spent some time drawing those fingernails. They actually show up even with this overexposed look. Nice. So these are the guys that are gonna be in the actual game. Right now they're static meshes. They won't be able to move or anything. But they are rigged in Blender, so I'll put those guys in here with actual rigs, and then we can move on with animating them and connecting them to the enemy blueprint, so they, like at least Beggar, will be attacking us exactly the same way, with me being able to just tweak some numbers to change the speed of the Beggar, or, you know, the rate of attacks and distance at which he notices me, stuff like that. Like, everything can be adjusted, but overall it's just little tweaks of settings and that's it. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, when you start creating more of the same things, that's where game engines really get a bit rewarding. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll make sure these guys look more appropriate the next time you see them. But yeah, as I expected, not a single touch of Infinity is actually noticeable in the game at the moment. Oh, that one is kind of noticeable, but that's about it. So yeah, a funny thing, like when you're texturing for a game, you can go really bold with like scales and contrasts of things, because you really gotta make things noticeable. That's probably why most games have a bit of a trashy design, if you know what I mean. Not all of them. Some top-notch games, they have like very subtle designs that you can really witness, but those mostly involve just dramatic cutscenes. That's how you pretty much do it, which is something I'll definitely have, so. But yeah, first we need to adjust the contrast on these textures. This is insane. Maybe that's why normals are kind of glitchy, showing seams here and there. By the way, here's an improved look. After tweaking certain settings in the materials, this is what the guys look like. I actually simply forgot that by default I have albedo at 1 and subsurface scattering would have a value of 2, which in normally bright materials would make them too strong. So makes sense that the settings need to be a bit lower. I also already fixed the normals problem. It was actually not the problem with the normal maps. For some reason on import, the meshes themselves with 0 textures whatsoever, there will still be a bunch of sharp edges and they're all exactly where the UV seams were. I don't know what exactly leads to this kind of interpretation, but what you do is that you go into a modeling mode and you use attributes normals mode right here, and you disable recompute normals, and you can see the egg yolk also changes. And the same thing we can do to the weird helmet on the beggar. There you go. And now all the guys are nice and smooth with no overexposure. Let's bring back this material. The gang is gathered and ready to be turned into actual characters, I guess. Anyway, for now this is it. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye! I feel like this guy will actually be one of the creepiest enemies, because he will be just like slow, smoothly moving in space, and within a pretty big radius is gonna be a nightmare to be around. Something like that. I'm not sure yet, but the sounds need to be very specific and giving a good warning. Will be fun to experiment with that. Sounds I'm really looking forward to.